Hi, welcome to Ed Foodie. Today we're going to make a Indian dish called Saag Paneer, and I've made some other paneer dishes as well. Paneer is a type of Indian cheese that actually doesn't melt when you cook it, or especially when you fry it. And this one is with spinach, fresh spinach. Now, if you don't have Paneer, which it's not really an easy cheese to buy. We happen to have an Indian grocery store not too far from us. But you can substitute the Paneer with, there's some Mexican cheeses. Oaxaca is one of them that might work, or queso fresco might work. The two that definitely will work if you can find them maybe in your deli department is halloumi. I think it's a Mideastern cheese. And I'm pretty sure this Finnish, a lot of restaurants serve this. It's called this Finnish squeaky cheese. And it's, hope I pronounce this right, Lepajusto. I know that should work real good because I've had that before at restaurants, and it's grilled and it doesn't melt. So here's kind of what the paneer looks like. And this is also kind of a squeaky cheese. All right, so I've got my big pot of water boiling over here. I've got 10 ounces of fresh spinach. I'm just gonna gather this, put it in there, and I'm only gonna cook it for about 1 minute, just enough to kind of blanch it. Of course, that spinach is gonna cook down a lot. All right, so we'll let this blanch for about 1 minute. And when the spinach is fully blanched, we will drain it in a colander. So what I've done with the spinach, I put it in the colander. I put cold water on it right away to stop it from cooking. And I'm gonna let it drain in the colander. I've kind of pressed out as much water as I could because you don't want it too wet when you put it back in the pan. And so while the spinach is draining, we're going to start roasting our spices. And I use fresh spinach. You can make this a lot quicker, just getting a package of frozen spinach. Just make sure it's well thawed and well drained. So to get started on our spices, I have a half a teaspoon of ground cumin. I've got my frying pan on medium. I'll get this down here for you. And so I'm just going to put this in a dry pan and dry roast it. Till it smells nice. And it does. Now I've got a half a teaspoon of ground coriander. Same thing, I'm going to pour that in there. And a half a teaspoon of fenugreek seed. Okay, so the spices are heated up nice and roasted. Now I'm going to add about a tablespoon, maybe a little more, of oil. I'm using olive oil. I've got 1 red onion. I couldn't find any smaller ones, so I'm using about a half of a medium-sized red onion. And I've sliced it and then just very roughly chopped it. This also calls for 5 cloves of garlic. And what I'm going to do is I have this, in a jar, minced garlic. So I'm going to put about the equivalent of 5. Of course, it would be much better if you had fresh garlic, which I do. I just don't have the time to mince it up. So we're going to cook this till the spices are all nice and mixed. Fenugreek seed will get a little bit softer, and the onions will be tender. I've got my stove on about a medium low. Okay, I got my onions nice and soft. Oh, it smells good. So now I am using fresh ginger because I think it tastes a lot better than the ginger that's in the tubes. And what I've got is about a 2 centimeter piece of ginger that's freshly grated. 2 centimeters, as you remember from old science class in America, that's about an inch. 1 inch equals 2.5 centimeters, from what I remember. Ooh, ginger smells good. Now I'm taking a shortcut. I'm using 1 can. This is a 10-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I'm using with green chilies. You don't have to. You can just use regular diced tomatoes. I'm going to turn it back up to about a medium heat. Okay, we'll let that simmer just a couple minutes. Now let's add my favorite Indian spice. I got a full teaspoon of garam masala. And this stuff is just wonderful. It's in almost every Indian dish, and it's just wonderful. Okay, so here's our spinach. And like I said, I squeezed it out and I actually kind of tore it up a little bit so it's not just big leaves. I'll tell you, the thing I really like about Indian food is, I guess, health-wise. Like this is going to be so good when we're done, and you won't even know that there's no meat in this because of these spices. Just it's like it takes the place of meat. Okay, so now we're going to add our paneer, and what I've done with the paneer is just cut it into cubes, and I'm going to use almost the whole package. This is a 14-ounce package. So I'm probably going to use a good 12 ounces of it. So I hope I didn't get this cut out from my previous video here. I've taken the paneer cheese, sliced it into pretty thick slices, then cut those slices in half down the middle lengthwise, and then just made nice little bite-sized cubes. And I poured that in here. We're going to, warm it all up, and as you can see, the cheese is not melting, which is kind of interesting. But this is similar to another paneer dish I made a while back, matar paneer, and it's made with peas, which I actually like a little bit better, but it's a little more difficult to make. You have to, once you get the cubes of cheese, you actually fry them up, and you want to get all 4 sides kind of nice and golden brown. And this one here, you just kind of throw the cheese in as is and just heat it up. So this is much easier. Okay, I think it's warmed up enough. I'm going to dish this up onto a serving platter. I'll take a little photo for the cover thumbprint for the video, and we'll give it a taste. Okay, so here's our finished meal. You can see it probably easily serves 4. I love the smell. Let me make sure I get a piece of this cheese. Yeah, the cheese gives it a little squeaky texture. The Indian spices are just wonderful. You could add salt if you wanted to. You don't even really need salt. That's another good healthy thing about Indian food. It's so spicy with all these other spices, you don't necessarily even need salt. And the paneer cheese is also not salty at all. And of course, garam masala, my favorite Indian spice. I love the squeak. So there you have it, Saag paneer. And I wanted to really put out a little shout out and thanks to a friend of mine that I worked with in the oil business from India, Sampath. He as I was over there visiting quite often in India, he was leaving and he got me this Indian cookbook, and I just love it. It's so good. I just have to convert all the metric into American measurements. But thanks Sampath for this cookbook. I'm still using it. And that was many years ago that he got me this. So anyway, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to Ed Foodie right over there. Thank you.